Okay. So, first things first, I think I gotta leave here. Kind of made a bit of a mistake coming down without a disguise. Oh well. Big hope is we're going to be finishing this game tonight. I don't think there's much left. Like, once I get that gas we're looking for, I think I'm done at Byzantium, and then there's only 2 more places, and from what little I know of the end game, they're basically just dungeons.
I think I'm gonna start taking my lunches out in the city. That will be down.
That scientist? The one who's been hounding the clerks?
Oh, wait.
Huh? Thought I saw something. Incoming! Bring him down!
Oh. Did I? I think I screwed it up. Yeah, I'm probably kill on sight with the board. Not that I care overly much. What did I just pick up? Ah, I found an ID. Okay. Which means when I go in here, the disguise failed because everyone kind of hates my guts. You know what? Let me try something. Hmm. There we go.
My mysterious Sprat Savior. What an unexpected surprise. But what are you doing here?
Oh yeah, I saved, most of his rats. He was using them for fanfics. That's not a joke. I need to inspect a dimethyl sulfoxide.
On the other side of the lab? Why, that requires a top-level clearance. After all, we're running low on the stuff.
That's a problem. Okay,
What's going on here? Company property.
looks like I need to boost my life. That's not a problem. I can just swap my, What I need, like 70? What is it at right now? 69. Oh, okay. I can work with this. Do I have... Let me go back. I just need to boost it by one more point, and I'm... Let me just take a look right now. Do I have anything that would do that for me? This would do it. Mind attributes +1, and if I look at this... No, that wouldn't affect it. Okay. Body. This would do it. Elder Lodger would be personality attributes. If I do that, it should bump lie by at least 1 point and let me do this. And if I'm right about this... Lie just bumped to 77. We're good.
My mysterious Sprat Savior. What an
Oh, hey, persuade somebody could have also worked, but this works. I know! That's why I've been asked to secure the remaining supply.
In that case, take this key card. It'll get you into the hibernation lab where the remaining dimethyl sulfoxide is.
Thank ya!
Hey! What do you think you're doing?
Whatever I want.
Oh, my mistake.
Where did I... Oh, this is the wrong way. Can I just turn it back now? Yes, thank you. I think we need to go south to that. So if we follow this yellow line... No, wait, this is where I came in, isn't it? Sorry, I seem to be a bit lost. Okay, where does this go? Here he comes.
What do you think you're doing?
Whatever I want.
Oh, my mistake. Hey, that's company property.
Invasive contaminants detected.
Well, whatever. What do you mean while in combat? There's nobody here. There we go. Welcome to the Human Experimentation Station of the Ministry of Accuracy and Morale. Human testing is a required step of any new product or process in order to ensure accuracy. Please be sure to document the results of all tests thoroughly to save the expense of additional trials. Let's see the lab notes. Live human trials. The addition of dimethyl sulfoxide to the current round of tests has resulted in some improvements. Subjects are showing improved circulation and increased neural activity. However, our formula is still missing something. We are still unable to fully revive subjects from long-term hibernation, and removing their supply of dimethyl sulfoxide results in their rather excruciating death. More of a liquefaction, as they said at the beginning. The problem is compounded when we consider reviving and freezing subjects multiple times over their lives. Ah, yes, the Lifetime Employment Program. To make matters worse, we've had a hard time securing additional dimethyl sulfoxide. We may have to make do with this batch. Well, putting it in the canister. Warning, this procedure may result in invalidation of experiment results and the death of human test subjects. Further information. Sudden withdrawal from dimethyl sulfoxide is highly lethal and results in cancellation of any in-progress experiments. Experimental integrity and test subject vitality can be maintained by leaving a 73.629% dimethyl sulfoxide concentration in circulation. Experiment details. Experimental authorization rockable charge. Lifetime employment programs. To reportedly revive human subjects from extended hibernation without cause of death of the human subject and loss of associated productivity. Inconclusive results. Prognosis is cautiously optimistic. If that's all that's happening, screw it. Oh. Well, there would have just been more. Yeah, okay. We made him angry enough that this is going to be a shootout. You're also probably rather angry that I just killed all their test subjects. I kind of derped this part of things up. So here's a question. If I back away enough... Okay, if I back away enough, that'll let me fast travel to the Unreliable's interior. We're pretty much done with Byzantium, so that they want me dead is meaningless at this point.
If you don't, you have a message from Adjutant Sophia Akande.
No one ever looks quite the same in person as they do in my reports. And my reports of you have been exceptionally thorough. You've had quite a career.
You mean stumbling around the colony, pretending to know what I'm doing?
I think you're being modest. I've been keeping up with you ever since Emerald Vale. Now that was an interesting piece of work. A rundown backwater, barely worth the ink on a map. Until you showed up. When you cut off power to Edgewater, you saved me a great deal of trouble. Now I don't have to bother trying to save that town. All this happened because some mysterious stranger fell out of the sky.
You almost sound like you approve.
Not always. For the longest time, I could never be sure if you were on our side or against us. You should be back on the Hope, frozen in a hibernation chamber. Yet here you are, flying about in a stolen ship, leaving a trail of paperwork in your wake. The board doesn't know what to make of you. But I do. I've seen your potential. There's so much we can do for this colony.
How do you know I'm from the Hope?
You haven't exactly been keeping it a secret. We raised security on the Hope after Wells broke in. As for discovering the identity of the missing colonist, all we had to do was scan the passenger manifest.
You wanted to talk to me, make your offer.
You have something I want. I'd like to negotiate.
I'm listening.
Phineas Wells is wanted by the board. I want to convince you to turn him in to us.
Wanted for what exactly?
He has a litany of charges against him. Vandalism, illegal experimentation, sedition. I could go on. Wells is a dangerous madman. His plan is going to endanger everyone in Halcyon. He's an obsessive psychopath. And he's using you. You're in contact with Wells. I want you to send us a tracing signal from his communication terminal.
You know what? You know what? Hold on, getting a lot of noise on this signal. Could you fuck off and never call back?
You are making a serious mistake.
Adjutant Akande's call has been terminated. Will there be anything else, Captain?
Let's get out of here. Whatever happens next is gonna be a hoot. I'm pretty sure the board just wants me dead on sight now.
Now arriving at Phineas's top secret orbital lab.
I've kept myself busy in your absence, optimized my formula. I'm now confident I can revive the remaining colonists. All I need now is the dimethyl sulfoxide. I'll take as much as you can give me.
Found your chemicals in the ministry. The board was testing them on human subjects.
Human test subjects? Oh, that's grotesque. That's unthinkable. That's exactly what I'd expect out of the board.
I put them out of their misery. Here's your canister of chemicals, by the way.
Thank you. You've brought me enough chemicals to get started, at least. I'm just sorry they came at the cost of human lives. Those poor people, they must have died in agony. What exactly was the board trying to accomplish?
The board's trying to mitigate damage to human tissue during the revival process.
You say the board's trying to freeze their subjects over and over again without inflicting permanent damage? Well, they're nowhere close to solving that problem. Something about this feels wrong. I don't know why the board would ever conduct such an experiment, unless they're working on some kind of hibernation technology. I'll tell you this much. The board scientists are hopelessly lost. After years of fruitless experimentation, they've made exactly zero progress.
The colony's on the verge of collapse. The board's been trying to cover it up.
I know. I've suspected as much for years. Of course, I don't expect the board to do a thing about it. They've been driving our colony to the brink of destruction for decades. The board's mismanagement put our colony on the road to collapse. If we don't put a stop to them, thousands of colonists are going to die.
It gets worse. The chairman's planning on freezing every worker in Halcyon.
Hold on. Let me see if I understand this correctly. You're saying that Halcyon's on the brink of total collapse? And the chairman's plan to save all of us is to save himself? I always knew Halcyon was heading toward a systems collapse, but I never imagined we were already there. The board made this crisis, and now they want to solve it by freezing the rest of us? That's not a plan. That's a goddamn escape clause. Do you realize what this means for the Hope? For your fellow colonists? The board's going to kill them all. Toss them out into space, just to make room in their hibernation chambers.
We need to think about this. There has to be something we can do.
Short of lining up every member of the board and shooting them in the back of the head.
Please?
Do you know what's waiting for us on the Hope? Scientists, engineers, artists, the brightest minds Earth ever sent us, uncorrupted by the board. The board's going to dispose of them all and transform the Hope into a prison for the rest of us. They're likely on their way to the Hope as we speak. We need to get to those colonists before the board. I have enough chemicals to start reviving a few of them, but no easy way to get them off the Hope.
There's a way. It's not exactly safe, but we can skip the Hope into the system.
Merciful gibbering law, you're a genius! We bring the Hope to us. Skip the entire ship across the distance of colony space, right next to my lab.
The Hope's probably damaged. We'll have to route power from the Unreliable.
Yes, exactly. You're a step ahead of me, but I perceive the shape of your plan. If we link up the Hope to the Unreliable, then use your navigational computer to calculate a reasonably safe vector, we can skip the entire colony ship into the rings of Terra 2.
Experimental methods for killing noxious life forms are not covered under this unit's limited liability agreement.
Well said, whatever you are. You'll need to switch on the Hope's auxiliary power using the Unreliable. Then head to the bridge. Your navigational computer, Ada, should be able to activate the Hope's skip drive. Once you've skipped the Hope next to my lab, I'll have easy access to the frozen colonists. I can start reviving them immediately.
I'll do it.
I know you're wondering why I'm doing all this. Why I believe the people on the Hope are the answer to the colony's problems. The Hope is carrying some of humanity's most brilliant thinkers, scientists, engineers, experts in their field. If we work together, we can still find a way to save Halcyon. The board would have us believe Halcyon is beyond saving. I choose to believe otherwise. If there's even the slightest chance we can save Halcyon from oblivion, then we have to take it.
I want to talk about the Hope.
Certainly. How can I help?
Should I expect any resistance?
It wouldn't surprise me. When I pulled you out of the Hope, the board nearly intercepted me. I expect they stepped up security since my little act of larceny.
Just so we're clear, you know skip drives aren't supposed to be used like this.
Skip drives designed to be used within a system, but I skipped my ship across Halcyon when I rescued you, and that turned out fine, mostly.
Mostly.
That is, I ruined my ship and nearly killed myself in the process, but the maneuver was well within acceptable margins of risk. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
We'll just ignore the fact that it's not going to be a tiny craft like the Unreliable, but we're skipping a huge colony ship. People aren't going to notice a gigantic colony ship slamming into the rings of Terra 2?
Unlikely. The Hope is as massive as the Groundbreaker, but compared to the rings of Terra 2, positively minuscule. The board might notice, possibly, depending on the position of their heads relative to the depth of their collective posteriors.
That's all for now. So we're going back to the Hope, the place we got rescued from way back when I started this game. The board is probably there. The board is very angry at me. This is going to be a brawl.
Captain, I hope Dr. Wells has not dragged you into one of his irrational schemes again. My diagnosis of his mental stability is not flattering.
There's the Hope.
We have arrived at the Hope. I need you to reroute power from our ship to the Hope's auxiliary generator. You'll have to connect me to the Hope's comm system so I can convince her central computer to enable the skip drive.
What's going to happen if I skip the Hope?
If your calculations are even slightly off, you could crash the entire colony ship into Terra 2. Or the sun.
Funny thing about the sun, I heard if you're doing a zero low intelligence run, so you get the dumb options, you can skip it into the sun. That's a legit ending to the game. And if I ever played again, I would totally do a dumb run and probably end up doing that. That's all for now.
Do return in one piece.
Got my two heavies coming with me. Okay. Power status. Reactor is in power save mode. Only life support is powered. Maintenance says everything is massively overdue. And somebody's having problems with a macrowave. Macrowave short-circuited after some idiot left his fork on his plate. Hibernation status. Okay, that's a bit worrying. 5 is almost full capacity, as is 8, but 12 is missing people. That means some folks might have died. What do the logs say? Pre-launch roll call. Names of the main staff. Error accessing archives. Here's a manual log. 10 years. Longest trip Donna and I ever took was a week-long sojourn into the Silver Mountains. Even that set her on edge. She's a homebody. Always was. She packed so much food we could have been stranded out on those rocks for a month, and we probably would have been just fine. UDL sent us on a team-building seminar into the city once. They paid for everything. Donna still packed nutrient bars, just in case that bus broke down. It's going to take the ship 10 years to reach Halcyon. An entire decade. It's a good thing UDL provided the rations, else she might have dumped our life savings into mixed nuts and freeze-dried meat. Automated audio transcript. This is it, folks. Say goodbye to Old Blue, huh? Yeah, if anyone wants to. Good riddance. Why so bitter, Resi? She's been a good home. Give me a spaceship any day of the week. Well, we'll see how you feel a year in. So, moment of silence, or should we make a toast? Anything? Feels weird leaving Earth in the rearview mirror. No, from now on, we look only forward. I've repowered your skip drive.
Something about waking a derelict ship puts me on edge, Captain. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, they do not like that I'm here. Unfortunately, I am drowning on ammo and have some really big guns.
Tool for the job.
Okay, I have a disguise for now.
Reminder. Penalty of death. Error. Hope crew data not found. Identify yourself.
If you're experiencing errors, I should take you to a mechanical engineer.
Error. This unit is not experiencing errors.
You just said error twice.
Error. This unit is functioning correctly. There is no need for the intervention of mechanical engineers. Thank you for your cooperation.
Hey, Raz? Yeah? Bored. Up for a round of torts? Yeah, but I got bridge duty. Oh, come up. Buzz me in? Sure. Don't cheat this time. Listen, it's not cheating if you don't get caught. I'm inspecting the desk all the same. I'm expecting the deck all the same. Okay, you know what? I'll find Lexi and play with him instead. Oh my fuck. Shh. Sorry, it's hard to be quiet. We'll try. If we get picked up by the computer, we're on record forever. It's so bad. I've got someone waiting for me in the pods, Alexi. This is a one-trip thing. Ah. We have a UDL identity cartridge for whatever good that might do us. Okay, here's the place we can reset the shroud, so that's kind of neat. Oh, I just looped around, so this was pointless. Here we go. Okay. Current pod count, 9,999. Current storage status, normal. That's us. This just shows we've been removed. That's probably how they found out we were from the Hope. Automated audio transcript, unknown crew members. Hundreds of thousands of colonists left to drift out here forever, just to keep from damaging the board's bottom line. Disgraceful. Ah! That's actually, I do believe that's exactly the line this game opened on. Or at least it's the first thing you hear from Wells.
Poor bastards. They're never gonna wake up. The least we could do is bury them.
Okay, logs. Got a couple transcripts. Begin audio log. Is this thing working? I said begin audio. Damn it. This is P. Wells. Yes, let's go with that. So it's Phineas. Work continues on test subject 112, retrieved from hibernation bay 8. Time of extraction, let's say 2.5 hours ago. Time of death, 6 minutes prior. Explosive cell death, my arch nemesis, haunting my every attempt at reviving our frozen colonists, making a mockery of my procedures. I've tried every combination of every chemical available to me, attempted every variation of every possible thawing procedure. A gradual melt, a flash thaw, extremities first, brain first. Don't know how much more of this I can take. 4 hours of sleep in the last 72. Can still hear their screaming in my nightmares. Test subject 112. Real name Harley Stanton. Age 39. Enjoyed singing. I'm sorry, Harley. I couldn't save you. Begin audio log as soon as I say the words begin audio log. What a ridiculously inconvenient program. What happens if I just accidentally say the phrase audio log? Don't know why I'm talking to a frozen colonist. You're losing it. And yes, focus, focus. Come on, make the incision. There we go. Excellent. Well, my frigid friend, you disobeyed the moratorium on ingesting food 36 hours prior to hibernation, didn't you? Thank the law for disposable gloves. Steady now, steady. Oh, that's not good. That is definitely not good. Damn slippery scalpel. Who makes those anyway? Spacer's choice? Apparently he was... We're not the first person he worked on, and he's been having a hell of a time of it. Oh. Route communications.
Can you hear me, Captain? I have successfully integrated myself into the Hope's comm systems, and am attempting to establish contact with the Hope's more primitive...
Error. Hope crew data not found. Identify yourself. Error. This unit. Error.
Yeah, that's what we did earlier. We have a key card for the bridge.
Processing.
You saw nothing. Just ignore me.
That's the Hope's computer up ahead. I'll admit, I am curious to wake him.
Okay, we're going to patch out through comms.
Greetings, Captain. I am speaking to you through the Hope's computer system. It's a rather cramped feeling, but it'll do.
I'm ready to skip the Hope.
Are you sure? That is extremely dangerous. Skipping the Hope will void the warranty on the skip drive. And also potentially kill an entire planet. How is my humor now, Captain? Improved?
Skip the Hope to Terra 2.
Jump starting the skip drive. Destination set to the rings of Terra 2.
Do it.
Oh no. Captain, don't do this. I ain't dying on a fucking ship. I'm gonna die in the dirt like we're meant to.
Doing it. I mean, affirmative. Skipping the Hope in 3, 2, 1.
ADA, does your captain seriously intend to do a micro jump in system with engines that haven't been powered in 70 years on a derelict ship?
Yes.
That is what my captain intends. Yes.
But that is a gross misuse of the skip drive. The Zero Point Drives Corp and I will not be held responsible for any damage incurred during transport, and this will cause extreme damage.
Yes, I am aware of that.
You should not be doing this. The humans will die.
Thank you, Hope. It looks like all systems are go. Captain, I would advise you to hold on to something. Now. Oh, good. We are still alive and have successfully skipped into Terra 2's orbit. I reported as much to Phineas Wells, but he has not responded. Perhaps you should check in on him.
I don't recognize you. Are you new here?
Mind your own business.
What's your problem?
You ask a lot of questions instead of doing their jobs.
Easy. You made your point.
I've got things to do.
Just don't make more pain.
Should be a pretty straight run off this ship. This was surprisingly less of a brawl than I expected.
Captain, I am receiving a transmission from Dr. Wells. The transmission is marked with prior... Captain, I shall now play the transmission I received from Dr. Wells.
The board is here. They've found me somehow. They're about to blast my door open. I can't stop them from getting me, and there isn't enough time to explain everything. But there's something very important you need to remember. The board, all their lackeys, they're all a bunch of swine. Do you hear me? They're fucking corporate swine. You fucking pigs! I'll take you all out with me. I'll never...
It would seem the recording captured some rather dire events. I presume you'll want to dock at the orbital lab to check on your associate as soon as possible. How can I be of assistance?
Talk to you later.
May luck be with you. Of course, as I am sure you are aware, luck does not exist. But it seems to comfort humans to believe they possess good quantities of it.
Alright. Gotta go back to the lab.
We have successfully arrived at Phineas's orbital lab, Captain, and we are still in one piece. Shall I congratulate myself, or would you like to do the honors?
Caution!
Oh, got some thugs. Contingency plan activated. Publishing last will and testament. Success. Please run login password to continue. What's back here? Got a weapon. Unfortunately, oh, wow. Unfortunately, it's a long gun, so I can't make use of it. Ah! The swine thing was a hint. There's a passcode, which should let us access this now. If you are seeing this screen, I, Phineas V. Wells, have been courteously kidnapped and very probably incarcerated by the courteous and cowardly government of Halcyon in the prison fortress of Tartarus. If I have not already been executed for charges leveled against me, I hope the person reading this terminal will find a way to finish my work, or rescue me, preferably the latter. This screen constitutes my last will and testament. I commend my body and my belongings to the icy depths of the aether. If this is Paul, I prepared an emergency care package located in a hidden panel. Unlock the panel from my terminal and claim its contents immediately. Must delete entries from terminal memory. No telling who might be looking. Hi! The Hope made it to Halcyon after all. 25 years too late. The board doesn't know what to do with an entire ship full of frozen colonists, so naturally they're going to leave them there. Corporate tells us revival is impossible. They've tried absolutely nothing, and apparently they're all out of options. Balderdash. Cellular regeneration after long-term hibernation is really just a question of thermodynamics. Quite confident I can find a way to revive the Hope's colonists. We found out he did, but boy was it tricky. If only corporate would authorize my requests. Frankly, I don't see why I need the permission of my employers to conduct experiments in the name of scientific advancement. What nonsense. Did Newton beg permission from his employers before discovering the 3 laws of motion? Genius is not beholden to the vicissitudes of bureaucracy. Besides, the Hope has a cargo of hundreds of thousands of colonists. The board practically expects a few to go missing. 113 seconds. New record. Most of my subjects last 93 seconds, on average. Our total cellular liquefaction reduces them to several gallons of organic soup, 3 degrees above freezing temperature. 113 seconds of screaming. That subject was stronger than the others, but in the end, his body failed to survive the revival process. He was my 12th subject to die. I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. Strictly speaking, I do know. The Hope was hundreds of thousands of colonists. I've only experimented on 12. How many more experience before I successfully revive a single subject? 1? 10? 100? 500? Statistically insignificant. If I experimented on one subject every month, I would not make a dent in the Hope's population in a lifetime. Can still hear the screaming, trouble sleeping, trouble concentrating, psychological toil, significant. On to subject number 13. He didn't... Yeah, we've noted he's had troubles, and it got to him. I always suspected this would happen. The board finally discovered what I've done and sent their headhunters to track me down. But they'll never find me. They say I'm a murderer, and they're right, I am. I regret what I've done. But I'm not about to turn myself into the board. I'm not going to go begging for the board's forgiveness. Only the Hope's colonists can forgive me for what I've done. They're the only people who can set things right, and I'm going to find a way to revive them, no matter how long I have to stay in hiding. Got my notes with me, I have my equipment, and now I have this lab. It's time I return to work. It's the nav key to go to Tartarus.
Captain, as it appears we may soon be embarking for a maximum security prison planet, I believe the crew would like to speak with you to, as you humans put it, air some concerns.
So, Phineas got himself taken to Tartarus. That's usually a one-way trip.
And here we are, entertaining the notion of busting him out. That's insane. And likely a hell of a lot of fun.
To extract the scientist, you will need to infiltrate the labyrinth. But that course of action is likely to be quite dangerous, Captain.
And abandon Phineas. We have to free him if we've any hope of saving the colony.
I am programmed to warn you whenever you exhibit inclinations toward risky behavior. Breaking into Tartarus will not be easy.
Getting in is the simple part. It's getting out again that's the trouble. Trust me, I know.
Let's just do it. Kick down some doors, grab Doc Wells, and cut a path out. We don't need a plan. We got guns.
If you really mean to do this, you should see to your final affairs and close out any unfinished business. Once you sneak into Tartarus, you may be there a while. Or permanently.
Translation. Hey, this is a point of no return. Better make sure your save quests are done. Crew, what do you think about all this?
It's the craziest plan I've ever heard. And I mean that as a compliment.
You didn't hire me to think. And I ain't about to start now. You're my boss. And I'll walk into fire with you.
I think it's insane. But maybe the colony needs a healthy dose of insanity right about now.
I know it's dangerous. And I won't lie and say I'm not scared out of my wits. But I couldn't live with myself if we didn't do something.
You're asking for more than bravery from us, Captain. But there are worse ways to go than dying for a good cause. I'm in.
Let Sam get the grime out. It's what our units do best.
The entire plan is a terrible idea, but I admire your bravado, Captain, which leads me to illogically believe, against the odds, that you will be successful.
We're doing it. Everyone strap in.
If we don't make it, at least it'll be a great story.
Got my trusty tossball stick. Got my ass-kicking boots. I'm ready, boss.
Outstanding.
You can count on us, Captain. We're crew. For real crew. That means we got each other's backs. Right?
Never thought I'd volunteer to break into a prison. Seems like your tendency towards risky behavior is rubbing off on me, Captain.
Command not recognized.
Waiting on your command, Captain.
Okay. Okay, where's the helm? One final thing I'm going to do. I think we're about as set up as we could hope for. We're going to do one final thing. We're going to go back to the groundbreaker. Before we hit Tartarus. We're going to sell our spare equipment and our junk.
The Groundbreaker has approved our request for docking, Captain. You're free to disembark.
Rizzo's Purple Berry Punch. You want a punch? You got your punch right here.
What can I do for you? Need some Adreno? It's good for you. Spacer's promise. Don't take my word for it. See for yourself. Make a choice. Spacer's choice.
Yeah, we're
Have a
gonna
look.
trade. Sell. We'll repair all our equipment. Sell junk. There we go.
Didn't the board rep's office used to be...
Okay. The only thing left is that one science weapon I never found. Maybe there's another quest or two I just never stumbled across, but at this point, we're done. Let's finish this. Make a manual save, just to be safe. Let's go to hell. You are about to salt the labyrinth on Tartarus and determine the fate of the Halcyon colony. Saves made after this point can only finish the main story on Tartarus. Side quests and downloaded content, such as Peril on Gorgon or Murder on Arandanos, will be unavailable for any saves made beyond this point. If there's anything you want to do before you enter the prison, do it now, before you cross the point of no return. Yeah, they're being nice. They're giving you a good straight-up warning. Hey, shit's about to go down. You ready? Yes. You know what? I will make a new save.
I am pleased to inform you that we have arrived at the labyrinth. Please be advised that the punishment for trespassing is execution. Please be advised that electrical storms on the surface of Tartarus make departure impossible at this time.
Know anything useful about Tartarus?
Resident count is as follows: 3,071. Resident deaths, including but not limited to executions, are as follows: 1,684. Resident escapes are as follows: 0. The interior can be chilly. Take a scarf with you, Captain. I would also ask that you leave your captain's ID with me, in the event that you do not return.
Promise not to leave without me?
I can make the assurance that I will not leave with another captain unless you do not return within 876,541,652 hours. Oh, speak of the devil. Captain, I am receiving a transmission from the prison's docking authority now.
Attention, unauthorized spacecraft. This is a maximum security installation. Your presence here is an explicit violation of UDL corporate policy. You are hereby confined to your docking platform until a ticket detailing your crimes has been filed and notarized, at which point your vessel will be seized and you will be executed.
How long will that take?
I wager it'll take a bit longer than it takes you to lose your patience and storm out of your ship looking to get shot. To be honest, that'd make my job a lot easier. You come out, we shoot you full of holes, and then everyone goes about their day worry-free. Except you. You'll be dead.
There's my intimidate check. You holehead, don't you know who I am? Transmit your biometric ID so I know who to fire.
Huh? Oh, yes, sir. Right away, sir. I just couldn't see you clearly before. Screen's on the fritz. Damn thing. But for the record, now that I hear you, I totally recognize you. Totally. You're, you, of course. Obviously. Anyway, Tartarus Docking Authority signing up. Hang on. Another ship just pulled into your dock. Wait, is that from the Groundbreaker? What the? Pay no mind to that. Just have a pleasant day.
Transmission terminated. Biometric ID received. Transferring data to external cartridge. How can I be of assistance?
We just got a shroud disguise. This, suddenly became a lot less of a firefight. Talk to you later.
I require a functioning captain to run the ship.
Where am I? Right. This is it. Last area of the game. Probably just this one main quest, and that's it. We're done. And we'll see what my antics over the past month have come to.
The captain did right by us. The board will never own Groundbreaker. Not while I'm breathing. Push on, my guy.
Awesome. Keep them busy, guys.
Are you new here? I didn't think we were hiring more staff.
Yeah, what's it to you?
Whoa, nothing. I was just asking. I was going to welcome you aboard.
Well, you made your point.
Okay, all right. Pathetic.
Citation assessment. The Labyrinth on Tartarus. Task classification. Easy peasy.
I've got to admit, I'm not too keen on walking into a prison. They lock me up, I'm liable to kill everyone trying to get back out. Whew. We have a lot of shooting to do, Captain.
Maybe not. We did get an ID that let us just sneak through the front door. So, if we move fast enough, I have enough Intimidate that I can get through all 3 checks if I need to. I just need to make sure that I'm out before that runs out completely.
Something's not... Hold it! Are you new here? I didn't think we were hiring more staff.
Yet we Intimidate again.
I don't have time for this.
Okay, so we made it through the outside very easy. Didn't have to do any real fighting. That was pure dumb luck. I was expecting it to be a brawl from the rest of the way in because I pissed off the board so much. I did not expect to just intimidate my way through that.
What was that? Beginning security.
Are you new here?
Tell this guy to bugger off.
All right, MSI. I'm not one for rousing speeches, but the captain needs our help. So get in there and fight!
That's Sanjar from Monarch, because we helped him.
Hold it. Something about...
You got a problem with the way I look?
That's not what I'm saying.
Sure sounded like it.
Wow. Forget I asked.
Gotta keep moving. We're running out. Unseal the door.
Well, look who it is. I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are as a bonus. Ah, I knew I smelled Monarch when you lot walked in. The stench of sulfur, depression, and desperate bravado is unmistakable.
Keep talking, and you'll be smelling iron. Ain't nobody so important I won't put a bullet in him.
And... oh, I had heard you were dragging around a repurposed janitorial mechanical. My staff jokes that it's because you're a walking pile of refuse.
Interactive database updated. The unique organic substance labeled Chairman has been classified as filth, imminent for incineration.
When you go
That's
off
what-
and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. I'll want it recognizable to show to my citizens.
And that's why I like keeping Sam with me. Chairman Rockwell, I presume.
My word! You've correctly identified the most recognizable man in the colony. Remarkable. It's a wonder what Phineas saw in you. Then again, he's an insane person. Thankfully, he's our insane person now. A proper company man.
Please, Phineas would rather die than cooperate.
Yes, he is an extraordinarily obstinate fellow, isn't he? Fine, he isn't working for us per se. Semantics, he'll come around. But that's between us. As far as my adoring citizens will know, we've turned a dangerous crackpot into a working-class man. It's a miracle.
You know what? I just want to check something real quick. Just tabbing out while I go check something. Let's see, let's see. Sounds familiar. I'm just looking up his voice actor because he sounds familiar. Apparently it's Kevin Michael Richardson, who... oh, Wikipedia says he's done a lot of stuff. No, wait. That's weird. That's what... yeah, it's Crispin Freeman. That's what I was thinking, so I was a bit confused when I got that result by Google. Wonder what made it think that. That crackpot is saving the frozen colonists you gave up on.
Oh yes, go on, wake them up, add more mouths to feed. That'll solve our starvation problems. I don't know what half-baked plans that simpleton in a lab coat has been leading you through, but it's done. It's over. Let me ask you something, Captain. Have you at any point thought about not fucking up our entire society?
You know, I can think of one person I can remove that would solve a lot of problems. You'd prefer to keep riding this downward spiral? I can fix this place.
If I and my people can ride it out in luxury and happiness, yes, yes, I would. I don't know if you've noticed, Captain, but Halcyon's pretty much a lost cause.
I'm going to get your administration's cooperation one way or another.
You are a captain of action. I'll give you that. Look, I'm not an unreasonable man.
Bullshit!
You managed to storm the castle, as it were, and make it out of here with Phineas alive. I can't exactly afford more havoc than you've already caused. Fine. If you survive, you'll need someone to sell the rest of the board on your plan.
You're damn right you will. Otherwise, I'm coming for you next. Well, that was interesting. I have no idea what happened exactly, but, I just pumped Rockwell full of lead. I have no remorse about this. Well, this is where I went in. So here's me coming out. Sorry, Crispin Freeman.
I don't see what the fuss is about a blasted lab coat.
Fugitives and fugitives. Let it go.
Panic searching for error.
If you're experiencing error, yeah, okay.
This is nice. Calm before the storm and all that.
Difficult job ahead? Consider equipping a pack of Sam's special solvent stain out remover. It's ruthless on residual blood splatter.
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life.
It's fun.
You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty.
We're liberating Halcyon, and there's not a damn thing you can do to stop us.
Do you imagine you're leading some grand revolutionary army? Those barbarians from Monarch are running wild in my prison. I suppose I have you to thank for this indignity. You're nothing but a rabble-rouser. I'm going to put an end to your little rebellion, and then I'm going to have you and your associates arrested.
Halcyon is changing. The board can't control us forever.
The board is the only legitimate power in Halcyon. We are Halcyon. I admit I miscalculated the extent of your influence. The board's plan never accounted for you. This is a mistake I intend to correct. I have Dr. Wells in my custody. Once I've secured his cooperation, I can move forward with the program. I can repair the damage you've done. I can set things right.
Don't test me, Sophia. It's bad for your health.
I'm aware of your propensity for violence. Halcyon is a bloodier place because of you. I take no pleasure in this, you know. I simply have no other option. Leaving you alive is too great a risk. Goodbye, Captain.
I'm rescuing Phineas, and I'm going through you if I have to.
I had a feeling you'd say that. This prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. I've had it programmed to eliminate you on sight and rinse your remains down a drain. And don't worry, I will inform Dr. Wells that you died heroically or something.
Oh, look! I have a shock weapon with over 2,000 ammo. This just became fun. Well, that was short-lived.
Why won't you just die?
Hi, bye.
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved, and long overdue.
And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind, and I can't begin to thank you enough.
You alright? What did he do to you?
I'm all right, thanks to you. Akande wanted my cooperation. I'm quite sure she would have beaten it out of me if you hadn't arrived. You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. But there's still so much we have yet to accomplish. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated.
Great. I was just about to pop open some drinks and celebrate.
I would like nothing more than to celebrate this victory, but we have a serious problem on our hands. Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
So we've got to make do on our own. Seems to me that'll make us stronger in the end anyhow.
You're quite right. We've got no choice but to make do on our own. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. We're entirely on our own.
I wonder, we did fire a message with a lot of information about what's going on here back to Earth. I wonder if the ending accounts for that. We have a lot of work ahead of us. We best get started.
Yes, we do. You've done a marvelous thing. You've succeeded where anyone else would have failed, including me. We must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the Hope's brightest minds, and then we're going to fix this damn colony, one problem at a time. We're going to need a leader, and I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend? Will you help us?
You can count on me. I'll help you revive the other colonists.
When I revived you, I thought you were going to help me save this colony. I was wrong. I had our roles reversed, you see. You're the one who's going to save us all. I'm just the one who set you on your path. You're the best thing to ever happen to Halcyon. If you want to take it upon yourself to lead this colony, you have my support. We're not a colony any longer, are we? Our last connection to Earth has been severed, and so we have been set free. Our future is uncertain, and no one knows what tomorrow holds. Exciting, isn't it?
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. Sanjar's civil liberties and worker-centric policies were slow to catch on with the other corporations. But as Halcyon began its long, arduous journey toward recovery, many of Terra 2's smaller townships started adopting MSI's alternative corporate structure, and eventually became entirely self-sufficient. In the coming years, many of these townships managed to eke by, where otherwise they might have starved. Consumed by paranoia, Lilia Hagen took Sublight Salvage in a controversial direction, openly accusing board officials of an extraterrestrial conspiracy. One day, an accident at the Groundbreaker's docking bay silenced her forever. Time would tell if her replacement could keep the Sublight family together. The collapse of Edgewater left its workers bereft of any purpose in life. Most of them made their way to Adelaide McDevitt's camp, hoping to ingratiate themselves into her favor. Adelaide accepted only a few to her community. The rest were turned away and likely died of starvation. Nevertheless, Adelaide's camp grew into a well-established town. Adelaide McDevitt refused to cooperate with the ongoing effort to save Halcyon from collapse. A sympathetic deserter stole a copy of her research and delivered it to the Hope's scientists. It is unclear how useful Adelaide's research was. An optimistic estimate suggests her work may have bought Halcyon another few years of survival. Adelaide would never know. She died that winter. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the lifetime employment program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Even the Gorgon asteroid, though a distant enigma to most of Halcyon, felt the aftershocks of your actions. The destroyed Adrenatime synthesizer became a symbol of the board's cruelty and a rallying point for Wells and his scientists as they sought to build a more humane, ethical Halcyon. They cleared the dead from Gorgon's laboratories and repurposed them to aid in the crucial work of solving the colony's nutrition crisis. Gorgon, which had once sown death and destruction across Halcyon, became a source of hope and renewal. The Gorgon Project's final explosive end was bittersweet for Olivia Ambrose. She wandered the colony's fringes alone, searching for others like her who despised the board and meant to destroy them. In time, she found Phineas Wells and his cadre of scientists, and she joined them in their efforts to save Halcyon. For a while, she even knew an uneasy peace. But for all that, Olivia found purpose in Wells' project. She was always haunted by the memory of her daughter, Minnie, who hadn't lived to see the better world they were building. She never did forgive herself for the horror her work had wrought on Halcyon. But she remembered fondly the daring captain who'd put an end to it at last. In spite of everything, the Gorgon asteroid remained a sobering reminder of the potential for progress and disaster in humanity's most ambitious efforts. The Rizzo's company in Halcyon dissolved after the collapse of the board. Needless to say, the launch of Spectrum Brown was indefinitely delayed. A stockpile of Spectrum Brown remains buried deep beneath the ruins of the old distillery, abandoned to time and attrition. With the dissolution of the board, Ruth Bellamy found herself without the two constants in her life: Byzantine culture and her sister Belinda. In the face of this new reality, she struggled to find a direction for her life. The colony had moved on from Halcyon Helen and would require new heroes in the years to come. And so Ruth Bellamy decided it was time to exit stage left. She quietly disappeared from public view. The dissolution of the board did not mean the dissolution of the ambitions of Cedric Kincannon, the charismatic leader of Sublight Underground. Cedric offered Slug's transportation services to the newly thawed colonists and set to work ferrying resources and food wherever they were most needed. For better or worse, Slug headgear became fashionable in the following years. As the board began to disintegrate, Spencer Woolrich found himself at a crossroads. Cling to what little stardom remained to him, or help usher Halcyon into its new future. To the surprise of many, perhaps himself most of all, Spencer chose the latter option. Having learned a variety of different skills in the many different roles played throughout his lengthy career, Spencer founded a radio serial dedicated to staying alive despite the odds. His subjects included how to survive violent encounters with only grazing wounds, dispense pithy one-liners for tense scenarios, and, of course, how to look good doing both. After a brief attempt at dating Helen as one person rather than two, which both Bertie and Helen found too strange, Bertie struck out on his own to try his hand at raising woolly cows. Many of his former Rangers teammates soon followed, accompanied by the woolly cow the team had originally plied with alcohol. The dairy farm thrived under Bertie's leadership and care. The Dairy Rangers privately believed that the woolly cows softened Bertie's temper considerably, although the only one brave enough to say this to his face was promptly headbutted. Due to the board's dissolution, many of the Prophet's old customers no longer found quite the same value in productivity seminars that they once had. With her business drying up, the Prophet chose to take her followers down a new path. Months later, salvagers on Eridanos found clues leading them to a seemingly abandoned bunker out in the wilderness. Inside, they discovered horribly mangled corpses, sacrificed to a blood-scrawled portrait of a sprat-headed deity. The Prophet was not among the bodies. Your influence shifted Ellie's perspective. She finally admitted, albeit grudgingly, that she just might need other people. Sometimes. With a steady income from the life insurance payouts, she was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She hired a small crew and flew supply missions to communities on the fringe. Some of them were even legal. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. As much as he enjoyed his adventures aboard the Unreliable, the vicar, known as Max, eventually decided that it was time to move on, to live out the life he had sought so long to create. He knew there were many in the colony who carried burdens much worse than the ones he had struggled with, and he devoted himself to easing their suffering wherever he could. He only ever took up arms again to defend the defenseless. Unshackled from a lifetime of striving and fighting the universe and himself, Vicar Maximilian de Soto was finally at peace. Once the matter with the Hope colonists was resolved, Junlei bashfully asked Parvati if she'd like to join her permanently on the Groundbreaker. And Parvati enthusiastically, if somewhat awkwardly, agreed. The stories of her adventures spread across the colony, and Parvati soon found herself the center of attention. Having served as the engineer of a renowned spacecraft, tramp freighters and wildcat miners sought her out by name. And in no time, she was a fixture in the Groundbreaker's mechanical ecosystem. She and Junlei were never far apart. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, an MSI subsidiary of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail, or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. He eventually came to terms with his own past, and was able to forgive the mistakes of his younger self by devoting his remaining years to serving the colony. Dr. Wells was able to revive many more scientists and engineers than he first expected, thanks to the additional batch of chemicals you stole from the Ministry. Wells never forgot about the human lives that were lost in acquiring these chemicals. In the end, Dr. Wells was able to save every scientist and engineer aboard the Hope. Over the next decade, nearly all of the Hope's remaining colonists were successfully revived. Halcyon saw a period of rapid technological and scientific advancement. Breakthroughs in dietary supplements saved the colony from starvation. Geoengineering projects and social reforms began to change the structure and character of the colony. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Today, Halcyon has stabilized. The people of the colony work hard to adapt to their new circumstances. Nearby colonies send aid and supplies. Life will never be easy in Halcyon, but for the first time in its history, there exists a sense of real, genuine hope about the future. And what about you? The unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon. Long after Wells passed away, you carried on his work with more energy, determination, and brilliance than he could ever muster. The years that followed were hard, but Halcyon survived by the efforts of the Hope's most promising colonists, the greatest of which was you. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.
Whew. So, that maybe wasn't the best ending, but good. I will note the thing about Earth going dark is probably a hook for the sequel, which has been announced. There will be a sequel. For anyone who's curious, am I going to buy the game and stream it? I'd want to... Honestly, if I'm going to stream a game, I'd want to stream one that has all its DLC out and the like, so I wouldn't expect to see it on this channel for a couple of years. As for the game itself, I enjoyed this. I will note the combat was not so great, and I mean, you saw the final boss, I just stomped it in a blink and it was over. But the real fun is just the stuff you can do with your skills and the like in dialogue checks. Part of me, if I ever go back and play this game again, I'd love to do a science weapon build, and because the game seems flexible enough for me to get away with it, I'd also be dumb and just make sure to pick all the dumb dialogue options and see where that takes me. I also know there's a second route through the game where you side with the board, which could be interesting to look at, and I might do one of those 2 playthroughs in a future stream, though that's way off. I've got other things I want to play right now. Still, this is a game worth playing if you ever get a chance to try it yourself. It is the same devs as New Vegas, and it does kind of show. It's not a bad thing. And if I'm really lucky, unlike that time I beat Control, this game isn't going to get muted by DMCA, so my thoughts on it will actually make it into video. Ugh. Meanwhile, we're at about 9:38. I usually go to 11. Once the credits are done, I think I'm going to call it in early. I'll find someone to raid. Meanwhile, tomorrow we'll be continuing SteamWorld Heist, and next week is the start of October. I'm thinking the next game I'm going to play is Project Eden, which I've only touched a little bit of, and I'm very interested in playing it through. It's a kind of a puzzle game. I've heard comparisons to the Lost Vikings, which aren't completely off base. It'll be interesting. Although I will admit I am going to kind of miss this theme. It was great for opening up streams. Excuse me. I'm trying to think, when was the last time I beat an RPG this big? I think it was late. It was either last year or earlier this year. I played Burnham 1 by Spiderweb. Speaking of which, I definitely want to do a Spiderweb RPG on stream at some point. They're great stuff. Great stuff. If I was going to do that, what's their other series? Abaddon? That'd be a good one to do. It's 3 games. Could try to do a playthrough of the whole series. Might not be too much longer. We're going to the DLC credits. I will note about the DLC. I am glad they managed to incorporate it into the ending, even if, well, Eridanos is a little weird in that it is it is pretty much completely divorced from the main story. They could have seriously made that a standalone adventure. It's almost kind of weird that they required it to be an end game. It was the last thing we did before going to Byzantium and finishing up. Honestly, they could have made it happen a lot earlier because it doesn't really tie into the main story much. Even its ending bit was just noting, hey, there's some Spectrum Brown left. Well, Thad and Roof basically leaving. Yeah, okay, Murder on Eridanos would probably be the last part of the credits. Yeah, I honestly thought this DLC was really, really well written. Maybe a touch annoyed that they kind of pulled the she's not really dead because twins and stuff thing at the end. I kind of get why they did it. It makes sure you reach some sort of conclusion. It gives you a chance to try to figure things out for yourself. Like we managed to piece together what happened with the Prophet of Prosperity. But they need so that no matter what happens, you still reach some sort of conclusion and it gets some sort of answer. I was actually expecting when I made my answer that's like, oh, this could go really wrong, couldn't it? Nah, they've got you covered there for better or worse. So I'm going to have to think about what I'm going to be streaming in the future. It's Project Eden next. I want to do one or two relatively shorter games before I hit into something big again. Maybe. Part of me still wants to do a JRPG. It's on sale now. I was thinking of picking up the PC version of Ni no Kuni. That could be a good one to play. Other than that, I was thinking maybe doing one of the Tales series, but now everyone's, Tales of Arise is out. Everyone's more focused on that. I don't like streaming the current super popular game. Partially it's because I don't know why anyone would watch me play what the latest game is when the bigger, more popular streamer you probably also watch has done it already. The second is, as somebody who's been a Twitch viewer for quite a while before I started streaming, I actually find it kind of annoying when the flavor of the month just starts flooding the system and it's all everyone's playing. I kind of like to present an alternative for when that happens. Plus, well, one of my goals outside from just trying to beat more games in my backlog, beat up, clear games that interest me like I did here, where I can, I would like to show off some of the more interesting stuff I have. I have a lot of like weird little indie games and retro stuff that people have maybe not heard of that would be cool to show off. That's actually one of the reasons I picked Project Eden. It's an older game, not necessarily the most well-known. I figured people might be interested in seeing, so what's this mess about? And the other game I'm going to do, I plan on doing, hopefully I will clear a SteamWorld Heist in time to start up in October. I want to play The Suffering, the first game. Maybe if there's time, I'll go straight into the sequel. Neither game is particularly long. What else was I thinking in the future? Part of me wants to try doing a 4X game again. Not Dominions 5. That's too much of a brain breaker for me to stream. Could maybe do one of the Thea games. Probably Thea 2. Part of me still wants to do a Metroidvania at some point. Gotta pick a good one for that. Again, I wouldn't want to well, actually, I wouldn't be against streaming Hollow Knight because it's a game I really want to beat, but maybe not right now. It's still kind of popular. Let it age a bit more. Maybe do Magicians and Looters again. I beat it before, but I really liked it, and I think I'd like to show it off to people. Anyway. We'd only have an hour. I don't actually have anything set up to stream right now. We'd only have about an hour left anyway, so let's go find somebody to raid, and we'll just call it out early. Again, tomorrow will be more SteamWorld Heist, and next Tuesday should see me starting Project Eden. I better make sure at some point I set that up and it can stream properly. If it can't, I'll have to think of something in a hurry. I have some options. Who's doing something interesting right now? Oh, hey. Yeah, I like sending people to Dot Level. He does a lot of cool retro stuff. Was it cheap? Oh, dear. I don't know what their pronouns are. I might have to ask that. They're playing Metal Storm right now. Also, excuse me. That little bit of wondering was probably a bit awkward. So, yeah, let's go say hi to Dot. Again, I'll see everyone tomorrow for SteamWorld. Later!